Hello. So I got my mannequin here. I went ahead and already pre-straightened some curls into her hair, if you can see. And then I went ahead and pinned it back out of the way, draped her, and so we're ready to start. So usually if this was like a person, I would start with like moisturizing. I have this Neutrogena Hydro Boost Serum, but since it's kind of expensive and this isn't going to absorb into her skin, we're just gonna pretend. Now I put that on. Okay, so that would be basically like our primer. And then I went ahead and tried some shades on her jaw, and I decided this is a little bit dark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix a little bit of this lighter Mary Kay foundation with this darker shade because she is a little bit too pale for this dark shade. So I'm basically just going to mix that up. I have a little circle brush here that I like to use. Just trying to match it the best of my abilities. Hope you guys can hear me okay. Mixing. Okay. So since there's some on here, I'm just going to go ahead and get that under her under eye. This is really good for just getting in close to that under eye. And that is with this lighter shade I'm putting under her under eye first. So that it will whiten. If she was to have like dark circles or anything like that, that would take care of that. And then I'm just going to take my other little round brush and start putting in that darker shade as well. Kind of pat it in on that under eye, and then I just kind of sweep and do circular motions to really blend. Lots of people use like beauty blenders and stuff like that. I actually prefer the circle brushes. I just feel like they blend a bit better and don't take it on as much. But not to say that they don't work they do work. So just trying to spread it down her jawline. And make sure that she's got really good coverage. Make sure we're good and blended. So if she had any blemishes, I could have done concealer before this, or I could have added it on top afterwards as well. But she has perfect complexion, so she really does not need any concealer because she has no blemishes. Okay, now that she's good and blended there, I'm going to go in. This is Born to Glow. It's by NYX. And I am just going to take it actually on this little round brush again. I have a towel here and I just kind of cleaned it off. It doesn't take a lot. And it's basically liquid illuminator, which is highlighter. And I'm really just going to focus on just kind of putting that on the cheekbones. And kind of, since she's a mannequin, kind of blending in with my finger too. And then I can even put some on the middle of her nose. If you can see that. Some people like to accentuate that area. And then also some people kind of put it on the little like part of your lip, like your cupid's bow, and kind of accentuate that as well. And I'm not sure if you can see, but it's very shiny. It has like a very light pink undertone to it. Okay. So now that I've done that, I am going to go ahead and go in with some powder now. So what I'm going to do is I actually have, this is Airspun, is the brand, and it's in just the shade translucent. So we don't need to have the powder, we don't have to match the powder to her face. It will be clear. And I'm just going to take one of my e.l.f. powder brushes, dip it in there. It comes with a little powder thing, but it likes to cake on there, so a powder brush just works really, really good. So I'm just going to kind of pat at first. It comes out kind of heavy. And then after I kind of pat it in, especially on like the forehead, say her like forehead or her T-zone is very like oily. That will help a lot. And then I just start sweeping it. Just very gently. Just to get all the extra off. I like to go pretty far down. Make sure that we get good coverage. And it'll just make her less like shiny if she really does have oily skin. That definitely helps. So first, since we're doing the daytime look, I'm not going to go too extreme. My everyday look is pretty simple. And then if I'm going to go to a special event or out for the night, then I can add more on and make it more drastic. So, okay, next I have, this is It Cosmetics. And it comes with a highlighter, and then it's got a bronzer powder and a blush. So that's what I'm going to do next. I have another powder brush that I've grabbed. And I'm going to start with the bronzer first. That's this big dark one right here. And I'm just going to kind of brush it right in here on her cheekbones. Kind of up through the forehead a little bit. Some people have like lots of receding hairlines and they feel like their forehead is a little bit too big, so sometimes you can kind of contour that a little bit with bronzer powder. And then I'm going to do kind of like her jawline. And this will just add a nice color to her face too if the foundation flushed her out a little bit. That'll add some nice color. Okay, back to the powder brush I use for the translucent. And I'm going to go ahead and get the blush. And I'm going to just start with like the little apples of her cheeks. Now I would probably have her smile, but we have like Mona Lisa here today, so not much of a smile. But I'm going to start with the apples and then just kind of work my way back to that cheekbone, kind of like I did with highlighter. And I'm going to also do just a little bit of this powder highlighter as well. Since we kind of contoured her forehead, I'm I'm going to put just like a little bit in the middle there. Give her a nice shine. This will be good for when she's going out in the evening too, because who doesn't love highlighter? Okay, so there's that. And then usually for just my daytime look, if I felt like my eyelids were looking just like a little bit dark, I would take my powder brush and I would just do, this one is called White Peach, or like this like peaches and cream. It's like an off-white color, just like kind of just to start with like a base. I actually do have an eyeshadow base. It's from NYX. So I'm going to add just a tiny little dot on my finger since her eye is not very large. You really don't need a lot of this stuff anyways. It goes really far. And that'll kind of cover up some of the pre-existing makeup that is already like in the mannequin. Okay, so now that the base is on, I'm going to take that light peaches and cream color, and I'm just going to dust her eyelids a little bit. And I can even mix it a little bit with that white peach. This palette is Too Faced, and it's sweet peach, and it actually smells like peaches, and I love it. It smells so good. The client will smell it when you're putting it on them. Okay. Then for her eyebrows, since we're just going out in the day, I would do, this is by Benefit Cosmetics. It is just a 24-hour brow gel setter, and it is clear. So it really just, it has like a little brush on it, basically like a spoolie, and it just really brushes the hairs really good. So I would put that on her and kind of just brush those hairs into the place that she wants them, how she likes it to rest. And it also can help to make them look fuller if that's the look that you're going for. And then I would do mascara as well. So I actually have, this is also by Benefit Cosmetics, it's Roller Lash. And I would just do a very good coat of mascara on her upper and lower lash lines. And then have a little bit of liquid gloss here that I would just take and put on. And that would just kind of give her a little bit of color, but it's not going to be like too dramatic. So, okay, so there's that. And that is what I would say her day look would be. And then transitioning into a night look, say she didn't think she was going to go out anywhere, so she did it very low key, and then decided, oh, I got invited to this party, I want to go to this concert, whatever. So we're going to spruce her up a little bit. So she already has a very light color on her eyes, and we set her brows. So now that she wants a more dramatic look, we're going to fill them in more. So I have, this is by Revlon. It has a pencil on the end, and then it has some more like colored gel. And then I also like to kind of combine that with this NYX. It's like an eyebrow marker. So she had places where she didn't feel like she had enough hair. This is actually very thin and precise, and it just really goes in and kind of, it just draws like individual eyebrow hairs, and that shows up really good on her right now. So she didn't feel like her eyebrows were, if they're too thin in certain areas, and she wants a more natural look, really you could do that. You can use it to make the tail of her eyebrow a little bit longer if that's something she doesn't like about her eyebrow. She feels like they're too short. There's so many different ways to style eyebrows, and there's so many different ways that eyebrows grow on people. It really just depends on the person, to me. But I'm going to give her more of like a fuller glam brow, and I am going to extend the tail of her eyebrow just a little bit, not a lot. It really should be aligning with the corner of her eye. So now it does. Don't want to go too long. And then if you make any mistakes, it's very easy to just clean up with concealer and a little brush. So okay, so there's that. And then if I wanted to use some colored brow gel, I could as well. Her eyebrows are already set into place very nicely. So this would just give a little bit more color if she wanted it. It really just depends on how dark and pigmented you want her eyebrows to look. Okay, so now that her eyebrows are more defined and shaped, I'm going to go in. This is my Morphe palette that I have. And I'm going to take my eyeshadow brush. And since she's going out, I'm going to give her a little bit of a smoky eye. So I'm going to add a light color again, just as like a base. And then I'm going to go in with this very light brown shade. I'm going to do a brown smoky eye. So I like to start lighter and work my way in. And you just make sure the darker you get, you're really just going to have to focus on blending. So, okay. And then I'm going to go in actually with this darker brown shade right next to it. And just kind of tap it in there at first. And you just want to make sure that as you're going, and especially when you're doing smoky eyes, you want it to be very even in tone because sometimes you can get it kind of too dark on one eye and not so dark on the other eye. So you really just want to make sure that they match. You know, they don't have to be twins, they just have to be sisters. So, okay. So there's that. And then I like to add, it's kind of hard with her, but I like to add just a really like shimmery color or something lighter to her just actual like lid. Usually I would have her close her eyes for that part. Okay, and then I like to take a more like thinner eyeshadow brush and I take that light color again, sometimes even lighter than this one. This is kind of like an off-white to a very light brown. And I just very lightly go right along her eyebrow line. And that really just kind of highlights her eyebrow line. It'll clean up if you went a little too far with the brown for the smoky eye. It really just cleans it all up. So then I have a little bit of fallout, so I'm just going to take my powder brush and just very lightly sweep it under. Just make sure that we get all that extra fallout out of there. And really, if you're concerned about it before you start, you can put some more of that translucent powder under the under eye. So then when you sweep it, it all just goes very nicely with it. So, okay, there's that. And then now that we have done her eyeshadow, I'm going to move to eyeliner. I like to use liquid eyeliner actually. A lot of the videos recommended like pencils or gel. I just think if you want a more bold look and it's also more shiny, that liquid is the one for you. And I just feel like it's a lot easier for me to put it on my eye and get very thin, precise lines. So this is Roller Lash Eyeliner. I also sometimes switch back and forth between NYX. It has a very fine point on it too. This one is like that. So I'm just going to go in and I'm going to line her eyes. Now she could either do like a very thin line or depending where she's going, some people like winged liner. She has a really good cat eye shape or a good eye shape for cat eye. So I'm going to flick it out just a little bit. Just like a little bit of a very skinny wing. Also, sometimes it's easier if you can kind of stretch their eye a little bit. But yeah, so we just kind of flicked it out a little bit. If you can see that, I think so. Okay, now I'm just going to go in and do this other eye. Flick it out a little bit as well. Again, you want them to kind of be, you want to be as close to the same as possible. But, I mean, you're never going to get them 100% the exact same. So, it looks like this one needs to be a little bit thicker compared to the other one. So, I'm going to go in and thicken it up a little bit. Okay. There's some winged liner. Then if I had false lashes, which I do not, that is when I would put them on now. So I just take, I have, well, I usually buy anyways, I don't have any right now. The band ones, not the individual. And I would just put the glue on there. I would start at the outer portion of her eye, put that on there and start to work it towards the inside of her eye. And then I would make sure that she kept her eyes closed for a certain amount of time so that the glue had time to dry. And then finally, after all that is done, sometimes after I do the falsies, I can apply a little bit more mascara back through the lashes just a little bit to bring her natural lashes into the falsies, just because you don't want it to look like you have like two sets of lashes. So again, the top and bottom lash line would get mascara. Then, since she's going out, I'm going to do more of a bolder lipstick color. This one's It Cosmetics. I really like their stuff. I think I'm wearing this color right now. It's very smooth and buttery, moisturizing is a good word. It has a lot of moisture to it. I have this little brush here I like to use. So I am going to take a little bit of my brush. Now, it might look a little weird because she, again, is an Anakin. And it's not going to blend in. So we're just going to lightly apply this to her lips. They're just going to be more bold. Lipstick, I feel like, goes a long way when you're wanting, especially a bolder look. Lipstick is the way to go if you don't want to go through too much work. Throw on a more bolder lip shade. I'm going to outline her Cupid's bow with this too. I love Cupid's bows. I always try and really accentuate that when I'm doing lipstick. This lipstick is it's so smooth, it doesn't even really need like a lip liner. I would be afraid that it would be like too dark or this is a good brand if you're worried about your lipstick just like fading off almost in weird spots like being splotchy. This just kind of fades really smoothly all together. So, and again, it's just so smooth and it's just like butter. So, that corner there. Okay, so now she has a little bit more color to her lips. She had a very nice, pretty, natural pink color to them anyways. But again, we wanted it to be a little bit bolder. So instead of gloss, we went ahead and did the lipstick. So now that she is done, that is our night look. I'm going to spray her with some setting spray. This is LA Colors matte setting spray, so it won't make her look like too like shiny. So I'd usually have her close her eyes, but you know, that ain't happening today. So she wants to leave them open. So I would just give her a good few solid spritz and let that dry. I'd probably have her keep her eyes closed. And then when she's all done, we can unpin her hair from her face. And just kind of, if we need to redo any curls, we could. I mean, really just depend. I'm going to go ahead and undrape her. And then I'll bring her a little bit closer so you guys can see her face a little bit better. But this is our finished look. Not sure. I'm sorry about the lighting. But, and then here is her curls that we did. And I think she is ready to go out and get the world. Thank you. Miss you guys.